Hey, what's up? Welcome to DGenEd. That's degenerative education, meaning none of this is financial advice. Just me having fun looking at charts and listening to earnings calls. And so, here coming up in just about 9 minutes, we do have the FuelCell Energy earnings call starting at 10 a.m. Eastern. And here we're just looking at the chart on the minute time scale. It does look like it's down a little more than 4% on the day so far, trading during market hours. And yeah, so it should be a pretty exciting stream to listen to the report as well as see what happens with the chart. And I do have the sound plugged into their earnings call. It's actually kind of funny because I'm listening to their music and it's throwing me off a little bit. But I do have that muted for you guys. Don't want to get a copyright strike there. And so once I do hear the call start, I will connect us to their audio and I will turn my mic off so we can just watch and enjoy. And, I might actually, let's see, turn the music down a little bit. This is kind of, I usually start these earnings streams just plugged into my mic so I hear myself and then I switch over to their audio. But there's been a little bit of, bumps in the road getting it set up as far as copyright stuff goes. So it's just, sorry, it's making me laugh having the music in my ear. It's just like elevator music. It's nothing exciting. But, if you do enjoy this kind of content, if you do enjoy earnings calls, if you do enjoy the analysis that I do, make sure you like the videos that you do enjoy and always share your thoughts in the comments down below or in the live chat. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the channel to support my efforts in making this kind of content more accessible. And the analysis, it's just really fun to do this. I really do enjoy it. And I do ticker request live Sunday evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern. So if there are any requests that you'd like, you can let me know in the comments or, on Twitter. And I am happy to take requests. I will be doing a rough cut requests today. The name of that confuses me. Rough cuts. I want to say rough cuts request, but it's rough cut requests. I will be going over, let's see, Nano Dimension, ticker symbol NNDM, as well as Fisker. That was requested, even though I do a weekly video on them every Saturday. I will be updating on Fisker at ticker symbol FSR. And then also, I'm curious to do follow-ups on Lucid and Polestar. Those videos haven't been as popular lately, but I do like to follow them and do want to do an update. So I will be doing that. So make sure you stay tuned for the rough cut requests that should be out today. I might be doing a plug power video today, but the chart hasn't really been that exciting, so I might wait for the weekend to do that. But first, just want to be focusing on FuelCell. And so here, I did put out a video yesterday suggesting that the chart here, if we do look on the daily time frame, just kind of seeing this, really just as like bigger picture, large scale, this does look like, it's just been downtrending. We've had kind of a series of like bear flags perhaps. And so I'm thinking that it will be going down more. But, down 5% on the day is not really that bad. So maybe that's just the extent of it. So we'll have to wait and see. And with that, I have done a bunch of these drawings. Pretty exciting stuff to see where price might take us. But, we aren't too much lower than the 786 level at $1.16.5, the orange line here. So maybe we just get one close below it, then we could reclaim it tomorrow. So it might not actually be that bad following earnings. So we will have to see. And if I do switch this back over to the 1 minute time frame, we can kind of relay these levels to the shorter time frame, being just below that level. And then it does look like some news came out that FuelCell Energy Incorporated reports results for the quarter ended in January. And so there's an earnings summary. We could perhaps look at that as we wait for the call to start in about 4 minutes. And so let's see, it does say that FuelCell did report a quarterly adjusted loss of 5 cents per share for the quarter ended in January, and that is identical to the same quarter of last year. And the mean expectation of analysts for the quarter was for a loss of 8 cents. So they actually did beat expectations. And so Wall Street expected results to range from -9 to -7 cents per share. So that's pretty good. While it might be, a negative, a loss of 5 cents, they got a beat of 2 to 4 cents. So that's pretty good. And then some notes here are that revenue did fall by 55% to $16.69 million from a year ago, and analysts expected $23.82 million. So that was not as good as what analysts were expecting, and FuelCell Energy's reported EPS for the quarter was a loss of 5%, as I had mentioned, and earnings per share, EPS. And so the company reported a quarterly loss of $20.59 million, while FuelCell Incorporated shares have fallen by 23.8% this quarter. So perhaps this could be a great dip buying opportunity if we do see some more downside following earnings, or perhaps at this price being right around that 786 level that I had mentioned. So forecasted changes are that the mean earnings estimate of analysts had risen by about 3.9% in the last. I'm just making sure that I am connected to the stream because I don't see anybody joining, but I am streaming, so that's good, not just recording. And so let's see. The mean earnings estimate of analysts has risen by about 3.9% in the last 3 months. And in the last 30 days, there have been earnings estimate revisions by analysts covering the company. And so recommendations from analysts are the current average analyst rating on the shares is a hold, and the breakdown of recommendations is strong buy or buy, 7 hold, and 2 sell or strong sell. And I'm just going to close this here and go over to what the analysts are saying here. And if I do adjust that, does look like current price, being like right around 117, 116. The lowest estimate is right around $1, while the highest is around $2.50. So a pretty good range there. And so to be at the lowest part of that range, I think is pretty good with current price. And this is based on 9 analysts, and this is all coming from Webull. And so, I'm just going to, I'll leave up the news so we can see what pops up. And I'm just going to adjust this little sidebar right there. Perfect. All right. So still just waiting for the music to stop, get the call started, and then I'll turn my mic off and just listen and enjoy. I will be noting the different sections of the call and putting timestamps down below if you're watching this after the fact. So you should have easy access to, finding where the CEO is speaking, or, where the questions and answers sections are, as well as learning more about the financial details from their CFO. So I'm sure it will all be down there. So do look for that. But yeah, currently trading right around 116. Being down, looks like getting closer to ranging between 5 and 6% down on the day. And so, let's see what's the next level down that I have marked. Right around 109, $1.10. So music's gotten quiet. Oh, it's just looping. Should be getting ready in just a minute. And then when I do start the audio, if you're watching this live, which I don't see anybody is currently, let me know in the comments if the sound is good, but I'm probably just going to leave it alone, and you guys can adjust your volume. Hopefully they have pretty good volume control, and but it always kind of varies with these calls. Yeah, so it should just be about a minute away. Should be less than a minute away. Current time looks like it's about 10:01 Eastern. So this should be starting very, very, very soon. Hmm. Yeah, I don't have too much to add on this. I should note that I don't currently have shares in FuelCell, but because I did the analysis thinking that price would be going down, I did buy a put yesterday. It expires in a couple weeks. We'll see if I make any money with that. Not expecting to hold it long. Maybe I'll make $1 with it. I'm not really expecting too much. And I might actually check to see if that has not been filled. So, I might lose $6 on that, but that's fine. I just thought it'd be fun to partake in this a little bit and have a little bit more conviction in my analysis, which could, might very well be wrong. Maybe this is just a drawdown before we get, the earnings call and price goes back up. But yeah, we will have to see. Because down 5%, really not that bad. Down 5 to 6%, I should say. Those pennies do matter. And yeah, so we'll have to see. And as we do watch the or listen to the call, I will be marking up the chart on the minute time scale just to give us some ideas of levels. That should be pretty interesting. Hopefully, offer some valuable insight. But currently, I think they're just waiting for this call to start. Yeah. So we will have to see. They're 2 minutes behind schedule now, and I can only chat so much. Huh. But yeah, this could be a lot worse here. I'll just switch over to the 10-minute time scale, give us a bigger picture. Yeah, it actually does look like, the low of yesterday was $1.15. So this is actually really not bad at all. Having closed yesterday, let's see, at a price of, I think, $1.23, is that right? So, or maybe it was $1.22. Let's see. Switch over to the daily time frame. Yesterday we did close at $1.22. That's right. And so yeah. And I wonder, I had mentioned that it did seem like there are a lot of bear flags. I wonder if this is kind of, drawdown consolidation. Maybe this is like a little bit of a bear flag, but it could just be, getting ready to reclaim these levels to the upside. So we'll have to see. Yeah, and so just so you guys know, I do have the music in my ear for their call. It's supposed to start at 4 minutes ago, but it hasn't yet. So if I do put this up, this is what I'm looking at. Please hold tight. The broadcast will start shortly. So I'm just waiting for that. And then I did, kind of crop the top of that just to put down there right next to Ed along the bottom. So I don't know if you guys think that looks cool. But, I'm going to try and do that for live streams moving forward. But yeah, this just waiting for this call to start. They are 5 minutes behind schedule. I am just waiting for the call to start, and I can show you. This is the website here. I just have the little top of that at the bottom. FuelCell Energy first quarter fiscal 2024 financial results conference, and they are saying to please hold tight. The broadcast will begin shortly. Currently now being almost 6 minutes behind schedule. So hopefully that does start. In the meantime, we're just checking out the chart on the minute time scale here. Does look like it's holding up right around 115, 116, which was yesterday's low. So yeah, I didn't necessarily expect it to drop, a ton today, but I do feel like over the next couple of weeks, just kind of looking at the bigger picture, looking at the larger time frame, it just looks like, we have seen, what looks like bearish consolidation. But I, of course, could be wrong, I just wanted to point that out. I do feel like this could be, bigger picture, this falling wedge, which could be very bullish. But, given that we did break out, kind of retested the top of it, maybe I need to adjust that line a little bit. We have, moved outside of it again. But since we have just been consolidating sideways, it is quite possible that we need to, move down to then retest that again, to then move higher. That could be great dip buying opportunity if it does come down to, right around $1 here at this orange line, or perhaps lower. If this is to be a head and shoulders pattern, this is all based on the video I put out yesterday. That measured move would be bringing price down to around 80. Let's see, 78 to 82 cents. Corresponding with this Fibonacci extension, the 1618 at 82.4 cents. I'm not hoping that it goes down that low or anything. The last thing I want is for prices to go down, unless, it's to, buy dips and stuff, and, generally having a more long stance, or hopeful stance. But yeah, it just seems to be trading sideways. It seems like not only are we waiting for the call to begin, but the stock price is waiting for it to begin too. There's kind of barcoding here since, before the call started, the range has been really like between $1.15.5 and $1.16. But still just music in my ears. And so, yeah, she'll be starting soon. I can't wait for it to start, believe me. But yeah, let's see. Yeah, nothing too crazy. Being down 5% so far, but still being above the low of yesterday. Not that bad. Let's see what was the low for Monday. So look at the 30-minute time frame. Yeah, purple downtrend. I think that's kind of intriguing. Also kind of has this pivot point over here during the, what would that be, pre-market. Pivot point over here. And so, yeah, getting back to that level, we'll be right around $1.10, $1.08, somewhere around there. So we'll see. Maybe it goes down a good amount, like this previous low that was over here, $1.11, quite possible. 52-week low, though, does look like it was 98.1 cents, just below a dollar. So, yeah. And just so you know, I see that another person has joined. I am waiting for the call to begin. I am on their website. Let's see here. And I need to just switch over to Chrome here. It just says, waiting for it to begin. It's kind of surprising that it's... Maybe I want to refresh this. I'm not getting any sound from it. The call started. I don't know why it didn't refresh. I'm going to turn my mic off. Sorry about that. I hope you guys enjoy. I'll chime in at the end.
Next, we are taking proactive steps to maintain the strength of our balance sheet. We follow a disciplined approach to managing our capital investment by establishing investment triggers linked to key milestones. We will continue to work toward increasing and investable cash flow while taking prudent steps to raise capital and preserve the liquidity required to operate our business. Fourth, we are focused on accelerating our global sales closure pace, contract execution, and repowering service efforts in Korea. We have made progress expanding our reach in Korea. For example, we completed repowering for our new customer, Knoll Green Energy Company Limited, in fiscal year 2023, and we see a significant opportunity to enter into other long-term service agreements in Korea. We believe that our work with Knoll Green Energy can serve as a model for transitioning similar projects. Additionally, Applications like electrolysis, time to power, and CO2 as a delivered product are gaining momentum among a broader set of potential customers and geographies. Finally, we are opportunistically evaluating potential options to benefit from global policy tailwinds. We believe that the domestic policies that have been enacted are stable, that the proposed global policies have strong support, and that we are well positioned to capitalize on the evolving energy landscape. And now I would turn the call over to Mike to discuss the financial results for the first quarter in more detail. Mike?
Thank you, Jason, and good morning to everyone on the call today. Let's begin by reviewing the financial highlights for the quarter as shown on slide 6. For the first quarter of fiscal year 2024, we reported total revenues of $16.7 million, in line with our expectations. Revenues in the prior year quarter totaled $37.1 million, which included a one-time benefit related to the expiration of a material right from an extended warranty obligation and higher service revenues from required module replacements. I will provide more details regarding service a bit later in my remarks. In the first quarter of fiscal year 2024, we reported a net loss of $44.4 million compared to a net loss of $21.1 million in the first quarter of fiscal year 2023. The resulting net loss per share attributable to common stockholders in the first quarter of fiscal year 2024 was -$0.05, unchanged from the first quarter of fiscal year 2023. The net loss per common share remained steady rather than increasing, primarily due to the higher number of weighted average shares outstanding as of January 31st, 2024, due to share issuances, and the net loss attributable to non-controlling interests during the quarter ended January 31st, 2024, which totaled $24.6 million and was primarily due to the tax equity financing of the Derby, Connecticut projects. The impact of this net loss attributable to non-controlling interests was approximately $0.05 per share compared to the net loss attributable to non-controlling interests in the prior year period, which was approximately $2.5 million or $0.01 per share. Adjusted EBITDA totaled -$29.1 million in the first quarter of fiscal year 2024 compared to adjusted EBITDA of -$14.4 million in the first quarter of fiscal year 2023. Please see the discussion of non-GAAP financial measures, including adjusted EBITDA, in the appendix at the end of our earnings release. Finally, the company has a strong total cash position at over $348 million as of January 31st, 2024. Next, on slide 7, you will see additional details on our financial performance and backlog. In the graph on the left-hand side of the slide, revenue is broken down by category. Note that there is no product revenue for the 3 months ended January 31st, 2024, compared to $9.1 million in the comparable prior year period. Our December 2021 settlement agreement with POSCO Energy Company Limited and its subsidiary, Korea FuelCell Company Limited, or KFC, included an option to purchase an additional 14 modules. That option included a material right related to an extended warranty obligation for the modules. The option was not exercised, and as a result, we recognized $9.1 million of product revenues during the first quarter of fiscal year 2023. Service agreement revenues decreased to $1.6 million for the first quarter of fiscal year 2024 from $13.9 million in the prior year period. There were no module exchanges during the quarter, whereas the first quarter of fiscal year 2023 included module exchanges at the plant in Woodbridge, Connecticut, and at the plants owned by Korea Southern Power Company. Generation revenues increased 10% to $10.5 million from $9.6 million, primarily due to revenue recorded for the Toyota and Derby projects, which began generating revenues in the first quarter of this fiscal year. Please note that the Derby projects were placed in operation late in the quarter. Accordingly, we expect to see a full quarter of contribution from those projects in our second quarter results. Advanced technology contract revenues increased slightly to $4.6 million from $4.5 million. Compared to the first quarter of fiscal year 2023, advanced technology contract revenues recognized under our joint development agreement with ExxonMobil Technology and Engineering Company were approximately $0.1 million higher, and revenue recognized under government and other contracts was approximately $0.1 million lower. Looking at the top right-hand side of the slide, I will walk through the changes in gross loss, profit, and operating expenses. Gross loss for the first quarter of fiscal year 2024 totaled $11.7 million, compared to a gross profit of $5.2 million in the comparable prior year quarter. The gross loss in this first quarter of fiscal 2024 is a result of unfavorable margins for generation, which included expense construction and gas costs related to the Toyota project of $3.5 million, and a derivative loss of $1.9 million related to natural gas purchases during the period. The gross profit in the prior year period is a direct result of favorable product margins, as revenue recognized had no corresponding costs, along with lower manufacturing variances. In the first quarter of fiscal year 2023, the company also realized higher service margins due to new module exchanges occurring in the quarter, offset by lower generation margins due to $7.6 million of non-recoverable costs related to construction of the Toyota project. Operating expenses for the first quarter of fiscal 2024 increased to $30.8 million from $27.7 million in the first quarter of fiscal 2023. Research and development expenses increased to $14.4 million during the first quarter of fiscal year 2024, compared to $12.7 million in the prior year period. The increase in research and development expenses reflects an increase in spending, including spending on labor and materials on the company's ongoing commercial development efforts related to our solid oxide power generation and electrolysis platforms, and carbon separation and carbon recovery solutions compared to the comparable prior year period. On the bottom right of the slide, you will see that backlog decreased to $1.03 billion as of January 31st, 2024, compared to $1.06 billion as of January 31st, 2023, primarily as a result of revenue recognition under generation, service, and advanced technologies agreements. This decline in backlog was partially offset by new service agreements backlog as a result of the agreement with Noel Green Energy Company Limited, entered into during fiscal year 2023, and new advanced technologies backlog as a result of the purchase order received from Esso Nederland BV in January 2024. Turning to slide 8, this is a view of our generation portfolio. We are very pleased to have added 3 new generation assets, enhancing our recurring revenue profile. With the addition of the Toyota project and the 2 new projects in Derby, Connecticut, as of January 31st, 2024, the generation portfolio totaled 62.8 megawatts of assets. It's important to note that as the Derby projects were placed in service, we were able to execute long-term tax equity financings, allowing us to recycle capital back into the business. On slide 9, we have provided a profile of our service fleet, including estimated module replacement schedules for each site. These are customer-owned assets which are separate from the company's generation portfolio. Looking at historical data, you can see that the company has completed a multi-year fleet upgrade, having replaced approximately 30 megawatts of modules over the past 3 years. This does not include module replacements under the new Noel Green Energy service agreement, which were provided by KFC. These investments are expected to result in enhanced performance, lower future maintenance cost, and improved margins over the life of the modules. We are now entering a lighter module replacement cycle since we have installed longer life modules across the platform base. We currently do not expect any megawatt class module exchanges to occur until the fourth quarter of fiscal year 2024, and as a result, we expect lower service revenues in fiscal 2024 compared to fiscal 2023. But as noted last quarter, we believe that we have additional potential service opportunities in Korea to transition customers to new repowering agreements similar to the contract that we executed with Noel Green Energy, adding to our long-term service revenue opportunity. Finally, on slide 10, we provide an update on our liquidity and ongoing investments in project assets. Cash and cash equivalents and restricted cash and cash equivalents totaled $348.8 million as of January 31st, 2024. This includes approximately $297.5 million of unrestricted cash and cash equivalents, represented by the darker blue bar on the chart in the center of the slide, and $51.3 million of restricted cash and cash equivalents, represented by the purple bar. Looking at the right-hand side of the slide, there is a chart illustrating our total project assets, which make up our company-owned generation portfolio. Investments reflect capital spent on completed operating projects, as well as capital spent on projects currently in development and under construction. As of January 31st, 2024, our gross project assets totaled approximately $308.9 million, which excludes accumulated depreciation. We are pleased with the project financing activity in the quarter and have taken and will continue to take proactive steps to maintain the balance sheet strength required to support our growth initiatives. As an example, given the company's current carbon inventory position, we have continued to monitor and make adjustments to our production rate to meet current and expected demand from our Torrington facility. The company continues to prudently invest in its commercialization strategy, which we expect to enable growth in future periods. I will now turn the call back to Jason.
Thanks, Mike. Turning to slide 12, I would like to reemphasize again the pillars of our powerhouse business strategy, which underpins our approach toward achieving long-term growth. The first tenet is grow. We are working to optimize our business for achieving growth in markets where we see significant opportunity for clean energy applications our platform technologies address. The second is scale. We plan to scale our existing platforms by investing in and extending the application solutions our platforms address and growing the capabilities of our entire team across the organization. And third, innovate for the future. We believe our platform technologies and our culture will allow us to continue building our significant global patent portfolio, further enabling our participation in the growth of the hydrogen economy and carbon capture emissions management, utilization, and storage. We plan to develop diversified revenue streams by delivering a range of solutions and services anchored by our multi-feature platforms that support decarbonization applications and the global energy transition. Accordingly, on slide 13, I'd like to share some additional details on the recent commercial successes for our solid oxide platform. As I mentioned earlier, we recently announced an agreement with the U.S. Department of State to participate in a private-public project that will use FuelCell Energy's solid oxide electrolysis technology with small modular nuclear reactors in the Ukraine. FuelCell Energy's 1.1 megawatt solid oxide electrolysis unit, which was selected for this project, is expected to produce 600 kilograms per day of hydrogen to support approximately 3 tons per day of ammonia production. Additionally, we are conducting a design and cost study for a plant that would be capable of making 3,000 tons per day of ammonia. We are excited about this important opportunity to deploy our solid oxide electrolysis platform, integrated with NuScale's small modular reactor to support energy security and agriculture in Ukraine. Additionally, as I mentioned earlier, we recently entered into an 8-year power purchase agreement with UConn to install 4 250-kilowatt solid oxide fuel cell units. UConn will provide all utilities, including low-carbon natural gas fuel, and our platforms will power the Innovation Partnership Building, the university's new on-campus center for cutting-edge research and industry collaboration and innovation. We believe that these planned commercial applications will highlight the specific advantages of FuelCell Energy's solid oxide fuel cell and solid oxide electrolyzer cell technologies. Our technologies offer fuel flexibility, efficiency, reliability, and a small footprint for easy co-location. We believe solid oxide presents one of the best opportunities to minimize overall cost while maximizing efficiency, and that our platform can give more organizations the option to implement a flexible energy strategy. Because most of the cost of hydrogen produced by electrolysis are related to the cost of input power, efficiency is one of the most effective ways to lower zero-emission hydrogen cost. And we believe FuelCell Energy's solid oxide platform is among the most efficient electrolysis technologies available. Finally, I would like to note that we have recently published our fiscal year 2023 sustainability report. We have included some highlights on slide 14. I want to reaffirm our dedication to achieving net zero, which remains in the forefront of FuelCell Energy's priorities. We have reiterated our commitment to achieving net zero on Scope 1 and Scope 2 emissions by 2030 and Scope 3 emissions by 2050. We are aligned with the leading standard organizations and the United Nations Climate Action Goals that we believe we can impact. In addition to commitments to our environmental objectives, we are focused on the safety of our employees, on the people in the communities in which we work and live, and on maintaining a diverse, equitable, and inclusive organization. This commitment is shared across our company and our board of directors. We are a clean technology, energy delivery, and emissions management company, but we are also a responsible corporate citizen wholly committed to protecting the environment, attaining net zero goals, being a diverse, equitable, and inclusive company, and exercising good governance. Environmental sustainability is at the heart of what we do. Before moving to Q&A, I will conclude my prepared remarks with some takeaways on slide 15. I remain excited about our company's trajectory as our newest innovative technologies are progressing toward commercialization and are expected to have a positive impact on our world in the future. We are making continued operational progress, and we are executing on large, complex projects for our customers, including putting 3 new generation assets in service, which adds to our recurring revenue profile. We believe our technologies have a critical role to play in transitioning to a low-carbon future. We are delivering for our customers. We are increasing our manufacturing capacity, and we are preparing for the commercialization of our new technologies and extending the value streams delivered from our existing technology platforms. We believe we are poised to capture market opportunities over the coming years. We have a strong balance sheet and have demonstrated discipline in the allocation of capital to support growth. We believe we have appropriate liquidity to continue to fund projects in development and platform commercialization activities, and to execute on our growth strategy in our target markets. We have had success in our growth efforts in Korea, where we see tremendous additional opportunity for the future. And finally, we see growing momentum behind policy support for the energy transition in the U.S. and internationally. And we believe we have the platform solutions that will enable FuelCell Energy to benefit from these tailwinds. I will now turn it over to the operator to begin Q&A.
We are now opening our floor for question and answer session. If you'd like to ask a question, please press star and number 1 on your telephone keypad. That's star and number 1 on your telephone keypad. Our first question comes from George Gianarikas from Canaccord Genuity. Your line is now open.
Hey, good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for taking my question.
George, good morning, and thank you for calling in.
Of course. Just maybe a first question. can you please just give us an operational update on the Toyota program and whether or not you've seen additional interest from new parties in the product?
Yes, the Toyota project is operational. As we previously reported, it is producing power, hydrogen, and water, all being utilized for Toyota in support of their operations at the Toyota Logistics Center, which is what they operate at the Port of Long Beach. The hydrogen is supporting the imported Toyota Mirai, as well as the jointly developed Class 8 vehicles that they developed with PACCAR under the Kenworth and Peterbilt brands, and then water for the car washing operation, reducing the amount of water that they need to use, which is consistent with their environmental objectives. With respect to additional opportunities, we do see additional opportunities for Tri-gen. Domestically, one of the big questions now is really how does 45V play out, and we think that that's having some impact on pacing, but there is strong interest both at a port level as well as the realization around the distributed nature of the platform, and that by it being a distributed platform, there's a number of hurdles that you can avoid in trying to get these hydrogen projects implemented without needing to get through a lot of the infrastructure challenges that exist in trying to do centralized projects. So we see solid interest in the Tri-gen platform, and we think once we get through some of this clarification, we expect that to hopefully turn into opportunities for the company.
Any guidance on the level of credits you see based on the changes in 45E for that project per kilogram of production?
No, I mean, we remain optimistic that the ultimate rulemaking from the Treasury Department is going to be consistent with the views that we've had on the Toyota project. But of course, you know, we like many others, we're part of organizations that commented on the Treasury Department proposed rules, and so we remain optimistic that there won't be a change, but you know, we certainly can't say for certain because we don't know where they're going to land.
Got it. And just one follow-up. Slide 10 show that your projects in development have now, you know, basically come to zero. I'm curious as to whether that's a conscious decision on your part to kind of slow the growth of the development of projects and allocate resources in other directions, or should we expect that to kind of grow over time? Thank you.
No, we expect that to continue to grow over time. I mean, you know, we talked about our Trinity project previously. You know, we just talked about on this call the project with UConn that's not reflected in the backlog numbers yet that you see, but will be in our next quarter backlog numbers. So yeah, that we intend to continue to grow projects.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Question comes from Manav Gupta from UBS. Your line is now open.
Guys, wanted to understand a little bit. We are finally seeing, traction on the solid oxide fuel cells as well as electrolyzers. I think Shell signed up something with one of your peers yesterday. And so I'm just trying to understand, where are you in this process of developing that offering? And do you actually see more orders come through in the second half of 2024, in 25 on the electrolyzer front?
Hey, Manav, thank you for the question and being on the call today. Look, if you think about solid oxide for us, first starting broadly as a platform, that has clearly opened up new opportunities for us. If you think about some of the things that we've recently announced, if you take the Trinity opportunity we announced, if you take the UConn opportunity we just announced, both of those are, the Connecticut UConn opportunity is a megawatt. Trinity is smaller at 250 kilowatts. Those are two opportunities that, at least in the U.S. context, we would not have been able to participate in before because our module started at 1.4 megawatts. So we see a wider aperture of opportunities being created as a result of having now commercialized our solid oxide platform. So we're very excited about that opportunity because there's many more, segments and opportunities we can pursue, and we think that time to power, and particularly for behind the meter applications, that opportunity from a sub-megawatt perspective, we think is fairly significant. On the electrolysis side, we think that solid oxide is the platform that ultimately over time will be the winner in the market because of the efficiency advantage. And if you look at some of the demonstrations that we've announced, for example, what we talked about today with CNL in Canada, pairing our technology with nuclear, the Ukraine announcement, when you think about the fact that those are baseload technologies that we're integrating our high efficiency platform without heat, we're 90+% efficient, and with heat, which we don't need a source of heat, but if we had a source of waste heat or process heat, we're at 100% electrical efficiency. If the aim is to produce hydrogen, clearly solid oxide is going to be the winner from an efficiency standpoint. If you just assume that power being the biggest cost, when you get to scale across the different platform technologies, if you think about, if you just use 10 cents as a measuring stick, if you will, of the cost of input power, that's anywhere from $1.50 to more advantage from a cost differential on a price per kilogram. That's significant. And we think that, yesterday's announcement, we think is emblematic of the fact that as we start to really think about scaled projects and really getting to the 90 million metric tons of hydrogen that are produced already that might fall into, if we were to use a color, gray hydrogen, that's a lot of hydrogen, and you're going to want a very efficient platform for producing that. And we think we're going to be well positioned to play in that opportunity.
Perfect. My quick follow-up here is there is a lot of demand for electricity, especially coming from the data centers. As we understand, utilities are struggling to meet that demand. And how are you positioning your company in a way where eventually you can break into this market and get 20 megawatt order, 30 megawatt order? Is that something you would be chasing? And if so, how would you be positioning your company to basically succeed in the eventual data center electricity providing market?
Yeah, Manav, great question. So if you think about our company and you look historically at what we've been able to do, and you talk about large-scale projects, today, our technology as FuelCell Energy represents the largest deployed fuel cell parks of any fuel cell provider in the world. We have a 58 megawatt platform in Korea using our technology. The two largest fuel cell projects in North America also happen to be fuel cell energy platforms. So from a large scale perspective, we're very comfortable with that. Also, with the introduction of our solid oxide technology and the ability to transition a customer from utilizing natural gas, as an example, to ultimately utilizing 100% hydrogen, we now have the ability to offer the customer that solution as well. And so we think we're well positioned to go after data centers. And we've also demonstrated the ability to effectively operate in a microgrid application. So as we think about our company and integrating to be a really compatible solution to data centers, we think about our baseload capability. We think about how we add other resources for quick ramping because we're a high temperature resource. We think about how you integrate with the grid, and we think our technology is well suited for that. But to add a little bit more to that, I'll maybe turn it over to Mark Fiesel, our Chief Commercial Officer, to give you a sense of how we're approaching that opportunity.
Yeah, thank you, Jason. So as Jason alluded to, when you look at this opportunity, there's a few dimensions to it. There is a time to power challenge where companies today are looking to build these data centers and other high density load requirements more quickly than the grid can facilitate it. But even beyond that, there is just the grid capacity issue. There, in some cases, in some geographies, there's no timeline in which the grids are going to go there, and it isn't just a phenomena that's limited to any specific geography. So, you can think about Singapore in Asia, you can think about Ireland in Europe, and several areas here in the U.S. This is an issue where the fact is the grid capacity is not going to be there, and so these represent prime power applications. Jason, I think, hit on a real key topic. It isn't just about delivering power; it's delivering power with a pathway to deliver better sustainability. So this ability to incorporate hydrogen as a feedstock over time, important consideration.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Our next question comes from Eric Stein from Craig-Hallum. Your line is now open.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Eric.
Hey, so just curious, you mentioned initiatives to speed the sales closure process. I'm wondering if you could just add some details to that, and then just curious, obviously you want to add product backlog, so maybe a view of where ideally you'd like to see that end up, maybe at the end of fiscal 24, and how you see it trending going forward.
Maybe I'll let Mark give you a little sense about how we're moving projects through our sales funnel and really trying to accelerate what we would call stage 4, and that's when we're in contracting, and 5 is closure. And we talked about a couple of those closed projects this morning that we've done, but I'll let Mark hit on that a little bit, and then we can talk a little bit more about how we think about long-term targets.
Sure, yeah, there's many aspects to that, but maybe one common denominator is if you think about delivering energy to someone or hydrogen to someone, doing so in a way that transfers risk away from that person. Historically, people have procured gases from an industrial gas supplier and electricity from a utility. Now, requiring them to embrace new technologies in order to do that, of course, is always a challenge. It's different than their existing business models. So this can be addressed, though, via partnerships. And so, you've seen us being involved in scenarios in which partnering in energy as a service type arrangements where the technical, regulatory, and financial risks are transferred away from that end users to a consortium that includes FuelCell Energy and other partners in order to go accomplish that. We also think about our ability to deliver with excellence in a specific geography or in a specific market segment. So an example of that may be our partnership that we've announced with Malaysia Marine and Heavy Engineering in Asia to really help us figure out how to address key customers and concerns in that geography, leveraging their local presence and expertise and ability to scale.
In addition to that, Eric, as you think about it, we've got a material opportunity in Korea through repowering. That's a real near-term opportunity. We talked about, we executed on the Knoll Green opportunity. We're optimistic about the opportunities that we see going forward there. And in addition to repowering, when you think about Korea, which is still the largest fuel cell market in the world today, under their CHPS, they've talked about 15 gigawatts of a deployment of fuel cell technology, 8 of that being, in country, 7 of that being out of country, really trying to support, import hydrogen market for their own domestic use. But if you think about that, now that we have a platform that today with our solid oxide platform that we can deploy today in Korea, and as that hydrogen becomes available to switch as the fuel source, that same platform with our solid oxide, we can switch to utilizing 100% hydrogen. And it opens up the aperture of opportunities where we think that we can effectively compete. And so we're very optimistic about that.
Got it. And is it something where you have a kind of a specific goal you think, hey, exiting fiscal 24, your product backlog is this? Certainly you anticipate growth, but is this more of a setting the stage for 25, 26, 27, or do you think that at the end of 24, you could have a decent amount of product backlog?
Look, we certainly have a target relative to backlog and building our backlog throughout the fiscal calendar year for us of 2024, and we think these opportunities will play into that. We think repowering is one of those opportunities, and as we've seen, just here recently, the opportunities with our solid oxide platform, and we talked about last quarter, which, we're working through contractual terms on a commercial win around leveraging our platform for biofuels in California. And we think with the growing biofuel market, our RNG, and our ability to take direct biofuels, again, positions us really well to start turning this pipeline into closed transactions throughout 2024.
Got it. Thank you. And then maybe just the last one here, and I'm not sure. I think last quarter you might have provided some specifics, but clearly now given the setup in South Korea, there is a big opportunity on the service side. Any specifics in terms of kind of near-term visibility, pipeline, any details would be great.
Yeah. So Eric, we are, if you step back and look at our opportunity in Korea with respect to repowering, we, directly sold the opportunity at KOSPO, and so that one is one that we continue to manage as we always have under our framework of a long-term service agreement. We've successfully now been able to repower Knoll Green, which was a project that was sold by our previous partner in the Korea market. And now, as those modules came up for a replacement or upgrading those modules, we were able to do that and now have the long-term service agreement for that opportunity. We see the balance of the GenCos that have our platforms deployed, so call it 100 megawatts of opportunity, as repowering opportunity for us as a company. Now, we need to go execute those agreements and come to agreement on LTSAs on a go-forward basis for those opportunities. But those translate into two things for us. One, it's new module sales because we need to upgrade those modules as part of the repowering, and a new long-term service agreement that goes along with those modules that run coterminous, if you will, with those modules. So we see that as a real market opportunity for us, and Mark and his team is very focused on the repowering opportunity in Korea.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Our next question comes from Ryan Pfingst from B. Riley. Your line is now open.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Good morning.
First question is around OpEx. Just wondering how we should think about R&D going forward as we get closer to commercialization on some of the next gen tech. Does that start to trend lower year over year in 25, maybe up year over year this year?
Good morning, Ryan. This is Mike. I'll take that question, and thank you for joining the call. So, as far as R&D, you have seen it trend up over the last several years, and this is really related to the commercialization efforts that the company is putting into our solid oxide platforms, as Jason mentioned, around power gen and electrolysis, as well as carbon capture. So it has trended up. The targets that we put out for this year were between 60 and 70 million for that line. So we're right in that range, kind of at the lower end of that range. So I wouldn't expect to see a material increase from where we sit today.
That's helpful. Then my second question is, do you have an update on the potential DOE loan guarantee, or maybe any sense of timing that you could help us with there?
Yeah, so we are, where we look to leverage the DOE loan program opportunity is in two potential areas. One is around expanding our capacity for solid oxide in North America. And as we talked about, we've been doing the work to identify potential new locations, which also may include, additional expansion capacity at our existing facility here in Torrington, which would also be eligible for the DOE loan guarantee if we go that route. The other area is ultimately what we end up doing around expansion of our carbonate platform tied to ultimately our view of the carbon capture opportunity. So now, there's about a 4-phase process that you go through with the DOE, and we are progressing through that process, but don't have a specific answer on timing of closure of that as we sit here today.
Got it. Thank you. I'll turn it back.
Thank you.
Our next question comes from Noel Parks from Tuohy Brothers. Your line is now open.
Hi, good morning. I apologize if you touched on this earlier. I got on a little late, but I wondered if you could talk a bit about the ExxonMobil partnership and sort of in December announced that they had sort of formalized making your technology their carbon capture technology of choice. And so if you could just talk about maybe the pace of further developments from here as you look ahead.
Yeah, good morning. No, how are you doing this morning?
Great, thanks.
Yeah, so as we announced that we have reached a point in the work that we've been doing with Exxon to move forward on the Rotterdam demonstration project at one of their facilities. And so the team is working on building the platform in support of that demonstration effort with Exxon. We remain very excited about the opportunity around carbon capture, but the current focus right now is really around the demonstration effort and getting that platform built and ultimately building the demonstration project. And in February we also put out an announcement around the funding of the order in support of that demonstration project. So we're continuing to advance the program.
Great. And this might be a little bit of over triangulation between various projects you've had, but I was wondering the Tri-gen project with Toyota at Long Beach. Is there any analogous use case I'm thinking about for example, maybe U.S. Gulf Coast and oil tankers, export facilities, and so forth? There's a lot going on with LNG there as well on the horizon. Any similar opportunities that you've talked about or had customers approach you about around about doing Tri-gen in a setting like that?
Yeah, when you think about the Tri-gen platform, and if you just take two of the value streams out of the Tri-gen platform, setting water aside for just a second, clearly opportunities around power generation for distributed power, and then hydrogen. Beyond using hydrogen for transportation, there's conversations around hydrogen for gas blending to help reduce the overall carbon intensity of nat gas is another way in which the platform can be utilized. We certainly see opportunities around ports, especially when you think about the efforts to decarbonize ports. And if you just take goods movement on site at the port and the need for a source of hydrogen and power as those things either move to hydrogen as a fuel or electrification as a fuel, those clearly become ways in which our Tri-gen platform is advantaged to pursue additional opportunities that look a lot like what we're doing already at Long Beach. And probably the most relevant part about that is, right, we now have a reference to show that what the platform can do, and it's being used in a real commercial application.
Sure, that it's the demonstration value for sure. So, okay, great. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. And Ellie, I think that's all the questions that we have.
That's all the questions that we have. I'd now like to hand back over to Jason for a few closing remarks.
Ellie, thank you. We will continue to execute on our powerhouse business strategy with the goal of delivering value to our customers, growth, and optimizing returns. Thank you all for joining the call today and for your interest in FuelCell Energy. We look forward to updating you again next quarter. Have a great day.
Thank you for attending today's call. You may now all disconnect. Have a wonderful day.
Hopefully, you all found that enjoyable. I apologize for the first about 10 minutes of it. I was connected to it and it just wasn't refreshing, I guess. And so we missed out on that. But I'm going to try to go back to their website, the earnings call streaming service, to see if I can add the first 10 minutes to the end of the stream. So if you guys are interested in hearing the beginning of that, I can kind of do that, so I can at least include a timestamp to it for those interested in listening after the fact. But yeah, Billy, I do see the comment on 112. Pretty surprising that it's been holding up there, and I do think it's really interesting too. I drew this trend line. I wasn't too dynamic with this during the stream, just like with comments and stuff. I'm just having kind of an off day, I think. But let's see if I switch this over to I think the 10-minute is how I drew this. Just need to do the auto axis. And let's see, actually, maybe I don't want the auto axis. Where is that? Maybe I have to do 30-minute. Yeah, maybe I drew that on a 30-minute. So basically, we just have this low here that was hit. Looks like in the after hours on the, or was that the pre-market? No, that was the pre-market on January 18th, hit a low of 107. And then connecting that with the pre-market low on February 26th, we do get this nice little uptrend, and that does seem to coincide with let's see, just auto adjust this, with the low that we're experiencing now, 112. So I do think that's pretty interesting. Maybe that's going to hold as support. So, we'll have to see. And I am now going to kind of swap over to the earnings call website to see if I can. The broadcast has ended. It's kind of annoying because I was waiting for it to begin and it didn't refresh. So let's see if I can go to the FuelCell energy website, energy investor relations. And so hopefully I can find the beginning of their the call here. So let's see the webcast here. So it has ended. Unfortunately, I cannot do, a showing of the first 10 minutes of it. But I imagine the first few minutes were just of some technical stuff and then kind of an introduction from the CEO. So I do apologize about that. But, as I'm doing these streams of the earnings calls, this is my first earnings season doing them. And so I'm kind of learning from mistakes as I go. I did, start this kind of template, let's see, where I would, down at the bottom, would have kind of like the banner for the earnings call. So I do think that's kind of nice. I have learned from the mistakes that I've made and whatnot. But, that is a little unfortunate. So I do apologize about that at the beginning. But yeah, it does look like 112 is holding up. And so I suspect that will continue, although it does seem like we have been just, stair-stepping downs. This is effectively like bear flag after bear flag. So potentially not that good. It's like we're just ranging between cents. So it does show a fair amount of weakness there. If I do look at this on the daily time frame, just to kind of give a broader perspective, really, kind of based along the levels that I pointed out in yesterday's video, It does seem like, here's that uptrend. It's kind of approximate. But, what might be intriguing is to, rather than connect it to the pre-market lows, I can adjust it to the during market lows. And so let's see, that's 109 over there, and here it is 111. So I can just adjust that. I don't need to adjust it, it's perfect. And so that, does coincide with basically the low that we're hitting today. Perhaps could go a little bit lower, but like 111 would be breaking below that, that'd be retesting this low. So, I do think there is quite a possibility we see a wick to 111, but ideally we get a close above at 112, and that could suggest that we are respecting this white uptrend that I have drawn here. But I mean, overall, big picture, I could see, this head and shoulders pattern playing out. And, while I think it's kind of extreme, a dip to like 80 cents, if we are not able to close at or above 112 today, I could see price dipping to, basically revisiting this low that was over here at 109. And if we then start to break below that, I just really see that it's starting to crumble. And then if it is testing this purple downtrend as a neckline for this head and shoulders, then the measured move would be, it's approximate. I didn't draw it from the high here. I just drew it from kind of like what I view as, the top of the head. That's kind of an anomaly in this shape of the head. This is like the roof of a house, and that's just the chimney. That's not the top of the house. The top of the house is here. And so then that would bring price down to this 1618 extension. And so for me, like I had said, I don't have a position in FuelCell, although I did pick up a put yesterday, just kind of out of curiosity to have a little more conviction, or to, put money into my conviction of this head and shoulders pattern. Do I want it to play out? Do I want the price to go down? No, my hope is for these companies to succeed and for retail to be making money. But I just, wanted to, put money where my mouth is and just see. It's just put $6 into it. I suspect I'll lose $6, and that expires in a couple weeks. And, hopefully I make $1 on it. That's where my limit sell is. But if not, it's no big deal. But yeah, that just keeps me more engaged with the chart. And so, yeah, I wonder if it will be revisiting 80 cents, or not revisiting, if it will visit 80 cents. If it does 82, then I'd potentially be a buyer, and probably a heavier buyer than just, averaging in. And also that would be, below $1 a share. For me, if it's below $1 a share, I'm limited to, I can only buy a minimum. I have to buy a minimum of 100 shares. So I would probably think about adding down there. Again, just trying to have more conviction in my analysis, because, I do see these stair-step levels. I could average in, dollar cost average into a position, but I tend to do that with a lot of the charts that I go over. And then I end up just having like averages that maybe on a pump, we get to the average and then I don't make any money. So I'm for this stock, at least, I want to have, a lot of conviction when I do buy, and that right around 82 cents, I could see that being a true bottom. Although, with this white downtrend, being the top of this wedge that I have drawn, maybe we would be revisiting that. And, that could potentially be at 45 cents. I don't know. That seems a little ridiculous. It's based on this extension from this orange retracement here. And that would be, at a price of 45 cents. So I don't see that happening, at least not anytime soon. If we do look at where that coincides with the top of the wedge, that would be, let's see, about a month from now, the middle of April. So maybe it's worth, keeping an eye on that. Will I be able to do plug charts today? Curious to know your thoughts. Yeah, I'm kind of having a tough time managing, earnings calls, the videos, and then I have work starting in the afternoon now rather than in the morning and having evenings free. But so uh, I feel like the chart of Plug is not necessarily that interesting, but I do think it's topping, so I think I could provide some useful levels to be considering. So I will be doing that today. I'll try to do that, but I want to first do a rough cut requests just to get a number of stocks out in that video. And since it's rough cut, I don't edit it. I should be able to have that out probably within the next hour. And then I will get out the plug video before I go to work, definitely. And then there's also a Rivian announcement today. They're revealing their R2 vehicle. And so I don't think I'll do a video on them today. It would be the weekly rotation would be for me to do it today, but I'll probably wait until tomorrow to see how it responds to that news, and then maybe see some levels that I might offer or suggest could be important. But yeah, I definitely will do a plug video today. I've got to, and it looks like we are breaking below 112 as we speak, getting distracted talking about all this other stuff. But yeah, 111. So I think generally I don't want to be a bear. I wouldn't identify as being a bear. I would say that what's the phrase? I'm an eternal optimist. I have a very hard time being negative about things. But just like looking at the chart, I do feel like FuelCell is going to be going down. With it near $1 being listed on the NASDAQ, I think that shorts are probably going to drive this to $1 a share and try to hold it there for more than 30 days. And so with that being said, I think that 82 cents is a potential bottom for this. I think that, I think $1 is a target. I have a put on that for the next couple weeks. I plan on exiting as soon as I make a small amount of profit, and which is really just like 15% profit, making $1 on that. But I do see that 82 cents as being kind of a longer term target and potentially 45 cents, believe it or not. But I do think that it would find support around 82 cents, potentially getting a bounce to $1, potentially to reclaim that. But it could be going down to 45 cents to really test the top of that wedge. So that doesn't look so good for them. But I think that ultimately right now, I think we've got to keep an eye on $1. And so that's where I see this going. And that could also coincide with, plug power topping right now, which is what I think is happening. And so I will do a video on that to go over some levels. But, this stream is, about fuel cells, so I shouldn't go on too many tangents. And so what I will probably do is put a close to this stream so I can do a video on plug power after I do a rough cuts request. That will include, Nano Dimensions. That was requested about a week ago, and I've been needing to do a video on it. Somebody asked me to do a follow-up on Fisker, so I will do that, even though I will have a video out for them on Saturday. And then I am very curious in Lucid and Polestar. Those videos haven't been that popular lately, so I just kind of wanted to do a follow-up for myself at least, and I'll do that as a rough cuts request. Rough cuts request. That's such a, ending it with an S confuses me. Rough cut requests, because they are requests, or rough cuts requests. I don't know. I think rough cut requests. That's how it is. But anyways, I'm rambling. I see I only got one more person viewing, and so I'm just going to throw this up. If you are still here, thank you so much for tuning in. Always make sure you like the videos or live streams, and of course make sure you share your thoughts with me in the comments or the live chat. Always happy to be engaging with you guys. That's the most fun about this channel. And of course, subscribe to the channel for more content like this, more live streams of earnings calls. This has been my first earnings season doing this, and so I'm just kind of getting a feel for it. And so next earnings season, I will probably be doing an earnings call perhaps every day, whether that's tickers that I normally cover on the channel, or if I'm covering them live or just after the fact, depending on my work schedule. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun doing earnings calls, getting the engagement and learning more about the companies, the people behind them. And so yeah, and I will be including timestamps too, where the different people were speaking. I believe, I'm not exactly sure. I believe, let's see. Let's look at the profile here. And actually, this is actually good research for me to be President, Chief Executive Officer, Jason. So I do have that, Jason Few. He was featured in the video. I assume that he started the call, but I wasn't able to do that. And then Chief Financial Officer here, that is Michael Bishop. And so got him noted here. And so I will include timestamps to them. I assume that the Chief Operating Officer, COO, is Mark. No, this is Michael Lazowski, Chief Operating Officer. So I wonder if he is. But I assume, yeah, there's two mics. That's confusing. And then let's see, Chief Technology Officer, Anthony Leo. I thought there was a Mark on here. Josh. And Mark Fiesel is the Vice President and Chief Commercial Officer. So I will include, the details to those who speak in the, timestamps, I should say, on this video, but I am going to close it so I can get on with rough cut requests and a video on plug power. Thank you so much for tuning in. Always fun to do these. This one was a little rough with the start, so I apologize about that. But I will include a link to the investor relations page so you guys can tune into that first 10 minutes. And actually, I might, before I close this, it might be good for me to check to see if this is updated so I can, let's see, or maybe it's just I need to refresh this page to, probably not. It's probably going to say, oh, yep. So yeah, what I will do before ending this, we can just listen to the first part of the stream, or first part of the call that I did miss, about 10 minutes of it. So I will do that before ending this. Thank you so much for tuning in and being patient with me as I fumble with this, but I am going to get this started. And I am plugged in here to the computer so we can listen to this together. And so as this starts, I will turn off my mic and we can listen to this. So I'm just going to start this.
Hello, and welcome to FuelCell Energy.
I will tune out so we can enjoy this together. Sorry I missed the beginning before.
Conference call. At this time, all participants are in listen mode only. A question and answer session will follow the prepared remarks. As a reminder, this conference call is being recorded. At this time, I'd now like to turn the call over to Tom Gelston. Tom, you may now begin the conference.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us on the call today. As a reminder, this call is being recorded. This morning, FuelCell Energy released our financial results for the first quarter of 2024, and our earnings press release and our quarterly report on Form 10-Q are available in the Investors section of our website at www.fuelcellenergy.com. Consistent with our practice, in addition to this call and our earnings press release, we have posted a slide presentation on our website. This webcast is being recorded and will be available for replay on our website approximately 2 hours after we conclude the call. Before we begin, please note that some of the information that you will hear or be provided with today will consist of forward-looking statements within the meaning of the Securities Exchange Act of 1934. Such statements express our expectations, beliefs, and intentions regarding the future and include, without limitation, statements with respect to our anticipated financial results, our plans and expectations regarding the continuing development, commercialization, and financing of our fuel cell technology, and our business plans and strategies. Our actual future results could differ materially from those described in or implied by such forward-looking statements because of a number of risks and uncertainties. More information regarding such risks and uncertainties is available in the Safe Harbor Statement in the slide presentation and in our filings with the Securities and Exchange Commission, particularly the Risk Factor section of our most recently filed annual report on Form 10-K and any subsequently filed quarterly reports on Form 10-Q. During the course of this call, we will be discussing certain non-GAAP financial measures, and we refer you to our website and to our earnings press release and the appendix of the slide presentation for the reconciliation of those measures to GAAP financial measures. Our earnings press release and a copy of today's webcast presentation are available on our website under Investors. For our call today, I am joined by Jason Few, FuelCell Energy's President and Chief Executive Officer, and Mike Bishop, our Executive Vice President, Chief Financial Officer, and Treasurer. Following our prepared remarks, we will be available to take your questions and be joined by other members of the leadership team. I will now hand the call over to Jason for opening remarks. Jason?
Thank you, Tom, and good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us on our call today. Since we last reported in December, we have continued to make progress toward the accelerated implementation of our Powerhouse business strategy. For the first quarter of fiscal 2024, revenues were lower than in the comparable prior year quarter. However, this was in line with our expectations due to a one-time revenue benefit from the expiration of a material right related to an extended warranty obligation and higher service revenues from required module replacements during the comparable prior year quarter. Today, we will provide additional detail on our results for the quarter, as well as looking ahead. Before diving into the business results, I believe it is important to give an overview of FuelCell Energy for anyone new to our story. As shown on slide 3, we've been in operations for over 50 years, and we are a leader in developing stationary fuel cell platforms. Our purpose as a company is to enable a world empowered by clean energy. Today, the world is in the early stages of a global energy transition to a low-carbon future. We believe FuelCell Energy is well-positioned as an energy delivery and emissions management company to be part of the solution by supporting customers on a safe, secure, and practical path to net carbon zero. This important purpose is what drives our passion for this work and guides our strategic focus. We have 188 modules in commercial operations in North America, Asia, and Europe, and we are focused on entering additional markets around the world. Our proven carbonate technology has met customers' needs for over 20 years and has generated more than 15 million megawatt-hours to date. Our recently commercialized solid oxide technology platform extends the solutions we can provide our customers, including electrolysis and power generation, using zero-emission hydrogen fuel as the only feedstock. We believe that our molten carbonate and solid oxide platforms position us to meet evolving customer needs across distributed power generation, distributed hydrogen, electrolysis, and hydrogen energy storage, and direct flue source carbon capture. FuelCell Energy provides technological solutions for and collaborates with some of the world's largest global companies, including our work with ExxonMobil to jointly develop carbon capture solutions, Toyota for distributed hydrogen with our Tri-gen facility at the Port of Long Beach, Pfizer to enhance power reliability by building a microgrid and leveraging our thermal energy to provide steam, Canadian Nuclear Laboratories, or CNL in Canada, to explore the viability of pairing our electrolyzer with nuclear energy, and IBM through a collaboration to use AI to find breakthrough ways to alter chemistry to extend the life of our electrochemical fuel cells. We are proud to be a global leader in electrochemical technology. Simply stated, our proprietary fuel cell technology platforms do two things: decarbonize power and industry and produce hydrogen. Next, let's turn to key highlights for the quarter shown on slide 4. First, we continue to make operational progress in key projects. We announced that both our Derby, Connecticut-based projects were placed in service during our first quarter of fiscal 2024, bringing our on-balance sheet generation operating portfolio to 62.8 megawatts from 43.7 megawatts at the end of fiscal 2023. Our fuel cell parks in Derby are generating competitively priced renewable energy for thousands of area residents and are helping the state of Connecticut close its power generation gap. We also continue to make significant progress building out our solid oxide manufacturing capabilities through capacity expansion of our facility in Calgary. We're working to position ourselves as high-efficiency solution providers in the hydrogen marketplace. Additionally, we continue to monitor and make adjustments to our production rate at our Torrington facility to reduce cost, and our carbonate inventory position gives us the flexibility to meet current and forecasted demand. As we look ahead to fiscal 2024 and 2025, we remain focused on advancing new technologies for pilot and commercial applications. We have the technology and flexibility across our product and service offerings to allow us to participate in the global energy transition in a number of different ways. We are pleased to announce that we have entered into an agreement with the U.S. Department of State to participate in a private-public project that will use FuelCell Energy's solid oxide electrolysis technology in Ukraine. This project is focused on demonstrating the benefits of an efficient, carbon-free, decentralized platform that can generate power and support food security through the production of hydrogen and ammonia. Additionally, we recently entered into a power purchase agreement with the University of Connecticut, or UConn, to install 4 250-kilowatt solid oxide fuel cell units. Power from these solid oxide fuel cell units will be used by UConn's new Innovation Partnership building. Any unused power will be exported to the Eversource grid under the fuel cell net metering tariff. We believe that this project will be an excellent example of the ability of our solid oxide fuel cell platform to answer the need for on-site, resilient distributed power that will assist UConn in achieving its environmental goals and provide heat, reducing their heating costs. Next, we are taking proactive steps to maintain the strength of our balance sheet. We follow a disciplined approach to managing our capital investment by establishing investment triggers linked to key milestones. We will continue to work toward increasing revenue and investable cash flow while taking prudent steps to raise capital and preserve the liquidity required to operate our business. Fourth, we are focused on accelerating our global sales closure pace, contract execution, and repowering service efforts in Korea. We have made progress expanding our reach in Korea. For example, we completed repowering for our new customer, Knoll Green Energy Company Limited, in fiscal year 2023, and we see a significant opportunity to enter into other long-term service agreements in Korea. We believe that our work with Knoll Green Energy can serve as a model for transitioning similar projects. Additionally, applications like electrolysis, time to power, and CO2 as a delivered product are gaining momentum among a broader set of potential customers and geographies. Finally, we are opportunistically evaluating potential options to benefit from global policy tailwinds. We believe that the domestic policies that have been enacted are stable, that the proposed global policies have strong support, and that we are well positioned to capitalize on the evolving energy landscape. And now I would turn the call over to Mike to discuss the financial results for the first quarter in more detail. Mike?
Thank you, Jason, and good morning to everyone on the call today. Let's begin by reviewing the financial highlights for the quarter as shown on slide 6. For the first quarter of fiscal year 20.
And so I started the stream I didn't start the stream. I got into the call a little late, and so I have caught up to the end of it, and that was, caught up to the beginning of it, and that was with the start of the call and Jason Few, the CEO. talking, and then I began basically tuning into the call with Mike Bishop starting. So I am just going to close the stream basically and put timestamps down with it beginning, at the basically 10-minute mark of the call. And then you can skip towards the end to get that bit from Jason. And yeah, Billy, thanks for tuning into this. It was nice to chat with you. And I will have a video out on plug power today as well as rough cut requests. And if you all do have any requests for me, always let me know in the comments, whether I do that during Ticker Request Live on Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern, or, just maybe doing a rough cut request, or just casually during a live stream. So yeah, thank you all so much for tuning in, and I will put timestamps on this below so it is easier to access. Again, thank you so much for joining. I hope you all have a great day trading and a great rest